Lovely morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing great and awesome in this lovely morning. Today, we're going to talk about something that is related to English teacher, and that is the recommended books that he should have in his arsenal at his disposition when he starts teaching career. When you start teaching, you need to have an understanding, a grasp, a comprehensive look, an eagle's eye on language and how language is structured and how language is taught. So, this concept is within the territory of language pedagogy. And in order to understand how language is taught, you need to base that on the experiences, the accumulative experiences of other teachers. So, in this video of today, I'll present to you some of the books that I have read, used, and incorporated in my language teaching and language philosophy, because every teacher comes from a different school of philosophy. Some people believe that lecturing is key and essential to become a good teacher, and the number of lectures and classes that you deliver is going to help you become a better English teacher. Some people believe in engagement and attending conferences and designing and tailoring perfect lesson plans. Some people believe in testing and assessment. Some people believe in the structural perspective of grammar, which is within the territory of pure linguistics. Some people believe in deriving practice from theory. Some people believe that theory comes from observation and field work. These are books that will help you reshape your language and become better English speaker and English teacher. The first one that I do recommend is by Dan Larson Freeman. She's a professor of linguistics and applied linguistics and language teaching and applied pedagogy. I met her in Washington when I was attending TESOL conference. She's a professional English professor. She has published so many books about language teaching. One of them is The Techniques of Language Teaching. And this book walks you through lesson planning. It's called Grammar Dimensions, and this is geared. Well, this is the lesson planner. It's not the book. It's not the book, but it's the lesson planner. And what walks you through is how you design the lesson plan of the lesson of grammar or conversation or speaking or listening that you are going to deliver to students. So I totally recommend this book. If you live in Iraq, I think you can access this book and the lesson planners in Mutanabi in Aqra bookstore or one of the bookstores in Mutanabi. The second one is the key components of any teacher's arsenal. It's Cambridge Learner's Dictionary. Cambridge Learner's Dictionary. As you could see here, the spine of the book is almost torn, so I had to glue it because I've been extensively using this dictionary over the past years when I needed to understand a word or try to figure out the meaning of certain words. So I totally recommend this book. The next one is Instruction, a Modal Approach. Now, this book tells you how to deliver instructions to students within the realm of a classroom. And I think it's a must for any English teacher to understand how they deliver instructions to students, especially nowadays the teacher's role has been shifted from being a teacher, a lecturer, to being a facilitator, a mentor, a guide, a helper, a friend, some sort of within that territory. So I totally recommend this book. If you're focusing on writing and you're teaching writing to students and learners, especially if they are taking standardized tests like TOEFL and IELTS, I don't know if you can access to a PDF of this book. It's called Keys for Writers by Anne Raymays. Keys for Writers. The good thing about this book is that it's dividing the chapters of this book into major components: the writing process, doing research, evaluating sources, MLA documentation, APA documentations for researchers, design, media presentation, and style. These are major components of any writing process. As you understand, that writing starts from drafting, ending in proofreading and editing, and rewriting. So understanding major concepts from this book is going to help you understand how to deliver effective writing lessons. Next one is an introduction to sociolinguistics. I would say this book is for researchers and MA and PhD students. Why? Because it talks about the theory of sociology and how it meets applied linguistics and how linguistics is incorporated in society. So the introduction to sociolinguistics is going to be an asset to you to understand how language is geographically distributed in society and in countries, and how people use accents and dialects and other forms of jargon in society, and the differences and distribution of dialects in UK, in London, specifically in the United States. And it's really amazing narrative kind of book that will walk you through these major components of sociolinguistics and sociolinguistic theory. So if you're an MA, PhD student or researcher, or an English teacher who likes to explore this field, I totally recommend this book, and it's accessible in the bookstores in Baghdad and in Iraq. Don't know about other countries. Another book that I totally recommend for teachers is Morphology. Now, why am I talking about morphology here? If you're an English teacher, and this is by Francis Katemba, if you're an English teacher, you need to understand the process of morphology and the process of inflection and derivation, allomorphs, and all other components within the field of morphology. That is, after phonology and phonetics and before semantics. So morphology layer is within that component, and if you want to understand the philosophy of inflection, the origin of certain words and certain expressions, this book is a must in your English library arsenal. Next one is my favorite book to practice becoming a better English speaker, not necessarily American. If you are interested in developing your accent, this book is really good chance. And it's by Ann Cook. I think there's new versions of this book, edition 6 or 7. This is the American Accent Training. It walks you through sound by sound and how you can incorporate that in certain paragraphs and certain sentences to be able to produce very clear and clean accent in English. This is my number one recommendation to any person who would like to improve his American accent. And if you're interested in British accent, there are other recommendations I will give to you if you're interested. An introduction to language. If you're an English student, a student at university level, if you are studying in one of the English majors or translation, Victoria Fromkin, who passed away a few years ago, it contains so many examples and so many narratives of how English has come to be what it is right now, and it's so much better than The Study of Language by George Yule. I totally recommend professors to use this book or chapters of this book when they are teaching their students. A Dictionary of Linguistics and Phonetics by David Crystal is a must to you also. If you are a student or an English professor on an academic level, I think this is a great chance to explore the major terminologies that we use in linguistics and applied linguistics, and specifically phonetics. You need to check out this book and see what it contains, because it's truly amazing. Jeremy Harmer wrote Teacher's Knowledge. I met Jeremy Harmer again in Washington, and this is the person, Jeremy Harmer. I met him in Washington, and I had a workshop with this professor, and while we were taking that workshop, he recommended this book. It comes with a CD drive here. It's called ET Knowledge, English Teacher Knowledge. And what he does, pretty much, he observes teachers teaching, and then he sits with them, and he starts discussing what they taught and what kind of philosophy they had when they introduced that kind of topic. When they introduced that topic to students in the classroom. So it's a kind of reflective teaching method, and it helps you crystallize and galvanize your method and your way of teaching English and approaching language from different angles and different perspectives. These are my top most recommended books for this year to start exploring. 2021 is a great year to start investing some reading time to explore language and explore how language is incorporated. A bonus book that I totally recommend is Think Like a Freak by Stephen Levitt. It's not language related, but you will learn lots of things about the world economy from that book. It's not language related because I do not believe that teachers should be restricted to language and language books. It's gonna be boring, so you need to explore other fields and understand how language is used in economy. He talks about economic issues around the world, and he tackles these in very clear way. It's top-selling book in the past years, so I totally recommend that book as a bonus for this video. Thank you so much for being a good listener to our lessons and our videos. Please subscribe and share this video if you find that it has some good value for English teachers. Definitely stay in touch, and we'll look forward to see you in some other videos soon, inshallah. ربي يحفظكم. مدرب اللغة وليد خالد.